Welcome to the Golden State Media Concepts Life and Happiness Podcast, the show that takes you on a journey of exploration. We'll discuss tried and true methods alongside the latest trends of how to best live your life to its fullest and happiest. From psychology to meditation, science to self-help books, the GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast will help you to discover what makes you happy and how you can live life being the best you possible.
Welcome to GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Alyssa Jo. How's it going? I hope you're staying healthy. I hope you're staying indoors. I hope you're staying calm and, hanging out with your loved ones if you can, and just doing what you can to spread kindness and just try to stay calm in all of this chaos right now that we're dealing with. With everything going on, it's really kind of inspired me to do an episode on something I think that we can all really relate to right now, and that's isolation. We've really been trying to be forced to stay inside, to stay alone, to, if you feel any kind of sickness, to stay at home and just spend time indoors in your own house and try to relax and try to just feel better. And I think that's so important and so crucial. So I just want to talk to you about isolation and just, because it's something that we're all kind of going to be going through or already are going through. And isolation leads to loneliness, and loneliness leads to so many other things, and this can be a really hard time for people. Well, it's a really hard time for everyone. It's chaos, it's something that not most of us have ever experienced before, and it's just, it's a lot to take in. It's a lot to process, and then having to process it and deal with it alone in your own house can make things even worse, and it can make you feel very lonely and very scared and sad and stressed out. And, with all the chaos going on, we got to try to find, that happiness and that silver lining and a positive, we got to try to make the most of what we can and just do our parts by staying indoors and, by isolating ourselves, and I think it's huge. And so we're all going to be going through this, and sometimes being alone with your own thoughts for a long period of time can be very scary for some people. Whether we're going through a pandemic or not, it can be very scary because, it gives you time basically to stop everything else in your life, and all you have now is what's going on in your own head. And sometimes we don't deal with things until we absolutely have to, when then all of a sudden our life is turned upside down and we have nothing to do other than think and eat snacks or watch TV or something, and we can get very distracted with the things that are going on. And having to process a pandemic and having to deal with that kind of anxiety and stress, added to our own inner demons from, things that we've bottled down, things that we just haven't quite dealt with, that aren't quite at the surface, those can be really scary, and it's just scary all around, and it's just kind of adding on top and on top and on top, and it stresses me out even just thinking about it. And so I just want to talk to you today about isolation and dealing with that loneliness and dealing with, being alone with your own thoughts for a long period of time. Some of us are completely alone, while others might have a little bit of family member or someone that we're family members or our spouse or anyone that, we're hanging out with in our house. But no matter what, there is definitely a sense of loneliness because you're not maybe going to your job, you're not being able to go hang out with your friends on a Friday night, you're not able to really take advantage of life and the outdoors, and this has all really made me realize how much I take for granted. I take for granted the ability to shake a stranger's hand, to go hang out with my friends on a Friday night, to, go to the grocery store and get whatever I want, not have to pick through what people have left behind, not having to put hand sanitizer on my hands every 5 minutes, like, things like that, like, we take for granted, the ability to go sit in a coffee shop and, like, work on our computer, like, simple things that we just don't realize do so much for us. And then, when we're left alone and we're left dealing with all this craziness, and then we're stuck inside of our house, it's like, where do we put all of that energy? Where do we put that anxiety? Where do we move all of that? And it's difficult to kind of I think it's different for each person, like, depends where you need to put your energy, how much you've bottled up, what you're dealing with, but I think we can all relate to the fact that, we have this overall anxiety or stress because of what's going on in our world right now, and then we're forced to be alone, we're forced to be, in our little homes, our zones where we are left with ourselves, pretty much. And, we have the internet. It's not like, we're completely shut down, but it's still scary and it still can be lonely, and we're all dealing with it. And so I'm going to use today's episode just to talk about, dealing with those anxieties, dealing with isolation and loneliness. I'm going to talk about de-stressing techniques and, taking the time to enjoy being alone, handling the isolation and loneliness, just addressing your thoughts and processing all of your emotions, because we all have a lot going on in our heads right now. We all have a lot going on in our lives right now. And it's scary and it's overwhelming, and we got to deal with it properly, because, the world may feel like it's kind of slowed down right now, but this will, get over the hump, and we will get through it, and then reality is going to be back, and we need to make sure that we're ready to be back as well. It'll definitely take some adjustment, but we got to be in a good mindset. And I think keeping a healthy mindset and keeping positive and dealing with the things that we need to deal with internally can really benefit us when all of this is over. And we can look back and, see the fact that we tried to, our hardest to stay on track and to be calm and there for each other and spread kindness and help each other out wherever we can. And that's just so important. So let's get into it. I know I'm rambling on about everything we're going through, but it's a lot. And I hope that you kind of listen to this episode and just makes you feel a little bit more at ease, gives you some ideas to de-stress and to calm down and to handle the things that are going through your head, because I know there's 1,000,001 things going through my head. So I'm sure there's lots of people out there who are feeling the same way. Anyways, so the first thing I want to talk about is dealing with your own anxiety first. We can't help anyone else be calm. We can't help anyone else deal with things, our family, our friends, the people that we're close to, when we're in a panic ourselves. If we don't address our anxieties and our worries, we're just going to put that energy on to the people that we don't want to put that energy on towards. We want to help them. We want to calm them down. We want to help take care of them and help get them through these difficult times as well. And we'll never be able to do that fully or properly when we are freaking out. So do what you can to deal with your own anxiety first. Get the information that you need. Maybe, it's we all have unknown things right now. There's a lot of uncertainty going on in our world, but, get the information that you can. And I think that really helps to calm you down, and get all sides. I find, looking at, the real news stories and then looking at things that people are doing that's positive to do with COVID-19, it's pretty inspiring, and it's pretty interesting to look at those things and really grasp that and appreciate those things still. So prepare yourself. And the thing is when you're in a better place in your mind, it makes it easier to handle the overwhelm, and it makes it easier to help others. And we all want to help each other right now and be there for others. When we're really stressed out, hormones can flood our systems, like cortisol, And cortisol produces the fight or flight response. That's when our heart rate's going to go up, we breathe more heavily, we require more oxygen, our blood vessels constrict, and this is stress, and this is putting stress on our body and our minds, and we need to find a way to really to de-stress and to handle those things, because once we are able to handle our stresses, we're able to put our efforts into the places that we need, and we need to put our energy into the right places right now, and we need to help each other and be there. So we got to calm down. First thing we got to do is we got to calm down. Find your happy place, find your escape, find something that's going to make you feel at home and at ease. Today I was able to take a walk on some pathways that I haven't ever taken the time to explore, even though I drive by them every single day on my commute to my normal routine. And today I finally took the time to really appreciate those pathways, and I got lost for a while in the forest, and it was nice. It was a sense of normality for me, because I'm used to going for walks and stuff like that, but I took the time to explore somewhere new and to appreciate those things, because the sun is still shining, the birds are chirping, life is still moving, our earth is still spinning, and we have to be grateful for that. Right now, we have to be grateful for having the ability to, listen to this episode right now, to be there for one another, to do de-stressing techniques like at-home self-care and research and educating ourselves on what's going on in our world. And we can't take those things for granted. And when we feel more grateful for those small things, we're going to feel less isolated and lonely. Even though we are restricted to our houses, I know a lot of us can go on a walk and experience nature right now, but look out your window and appreciate the things outside. Appreciate the little things in your home. Be grateful for those things, because that's what's gonna, ease that sense of loneliness and just isolation in general. And we're gonna put our mind at ease. We're gonna put ourselves just in a better mental state. Okay, it's time for a break, but don't go anywhere. I have lots more information. I'm going to give you some de-stressing techniques and talk to you about, really taking the time to enjoy being alone right now. Okay, stay tuned. So if you're anything like me, you're going to have absolutely no idea where to even start when it comes to creating a quality logo or creative design for your company or small business. Whether you're an entrepreneur, it doesn't matter. Coming up with that creative design that really represents your company can be a make it or break it moment. And that's a lot of pressure. So this is where Design Crowd comes in. Design Crowd's a website with more than 750,000 designers that are there to help you create the perfect custom design that is going to make your company, not break it. Whether it's a website, a book cover, an ad campaign, a logo, it doesn't matter. This is where Design Crowd can help you. Since you are a Life and Happiness listener, you can receive up to $150 off your first design project. All you got to do is go to designcrowd.com/lifeandhappiness or enter the promo code Life and Happiness. Welcome back to GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast. I'm your host, Alyssa Jo. Let's get back into some information for you. We're talking about de-stressing and dealing with that loneliness and isolation. And I did a whole episode on at-home self-care that can help you calm down. So go check that out. I go through some specifics of things that you can do at home just to ease your mind, relax yourself, take care of your body and your mind right now. My next tip, though, I've said too before, is educate yourself, do your research, get the information that you need to ease your mind. This is really going to help de-stress you and make you feel better in a time of panic. So know what you feel like you need to know. If reading too much information stresses you out more, then recognize that and take a step back. Maybe read the positive stories that are still going on in today's world and focus on that. At any moment, if you feel very overwhelmed and stressed with what's going on, my biggest thing would be to take a step back and just try to focus on something else. Focus on a positive story. Focus on yourself. Read a different book. Distract yourself. Just kind of get out of your head. Easier said than done, of course. My next thing too, though, would be a journal. I think this is a really cool time to keep a daily journal with everything's going on and how you're feeling and your day-to-day quarantine routine. I don't know, like whatever you're going through right now, write it down, and it's going to help you, document a crazy place in time, but it's also going to, ease your mind and let you process those thoughts. So write. Every moment that you can, right? Every chance that you can, pick up a piece of paper and a pen and just write. It's going to allow you to really, really focus on the things that you need to focus on and process those things and filter them out. So yes, right. My next one is going to be the most obvious one, and that's take 10 deep breaths. When you're feeling stressed and you're feeling overwhelmed, slow down and take deep breaths. With everything going on right now, I feel like the world is in slow motion, and it's allowed me to be in slow motion. It's more forced me into slow motion, but that's okay. And I find though, sometimes we need to go into slow motion, and we need to take 10 deep breaths, and we need to just focus on the moment and focus on our breath and focus on, that at this very moment, like, we are okay and everything is going to be okay. So taking those 10 deep breaths can really make a huge difference in just how you feel in general. So slow down, take 10 deep breaths, give yourself some 3 affirmations of good things going on or good things about yourself and some encouragement, and then you're going to be able to pick yourself back up and keep going. My next one is changing your environment. Easier said than done right now. I'm talking about isolation and loneliness, and how am I supposed to change my environment when I'm literally isolated in my house? That's the challenge, I guess, that we're facing. For me, changing my environment is my go-to de-stressor. It gives me ease to be in a different place because we are easily triggered by our surroundings. And unfortunately, right now, our surroundings are all we have. We have our home, and if we're triggered by things in our home, that can bring a lot of panic to us, and it can really just make us feel off edge. But maybe you just need to find a new environment inside of your home. Maybe you can find a window just to look out of. Maybe you can rearrange some furniture. I think this is a good time to do some spring cleaning maybe. And if you're able to change an environment in your own home, I can tell you right now, you're going to feel better. We associate our emotions with our environments without realizing it. So take the time to change your environment. Take the time to reorganize or to look out a different window that you don't usually look out. Maybe it's in your upstairs bathroom. Like, when do you ever look out that window? It sounds silly, but subconsciously, we associate all these things, and so sometimes we have to put ourselves even in the most ridiculous place to get out of our heads. So try that next time. Try to find a new environment. Easier said than done, but if you're able to get a new environment and then just sit there, and if you can meditate or, get yourself mentally in a different place, that can be huge too. Maybe you just need to lay down and visualize a different environment, visualize the positives and really see that, and that can set you into a different environment. That could set you into a different mindset. So visualize when you can't physically change anything. Try to focus on the things in your mind that you can change, right? You can change what you're thinking about. You can change, your thought process to think of something positive. Think of your happy place. Think of a different environment. And I think your mood is going to change with it. So try that. And then, of course, I think we should be stretching and doing yoga and trying to exercise at home. That can really help de-stress us. We can move that negative energy. Exercise is proven to really move negative energy and allows you to regain positive energy. And it allows you to just get in your body and appreciate your body a little bit more as well. And once you do that, you just feel a little bit more calm and you feel a little bit more centered and grounded. So get moving, get exercising, put your phone away. Right now, media is crazy. Social media is crazy. People are blowing up their phones. And when we're dealing with isolation and loneliness, I'm not saying that we shouldn't reach out and talk to people, because that can be a huge way to deal with isolation and loneliness. But sometimes our phones can give us more anxiety, and it can make us feel more alone, because we might see things on the internet, or we might feel off edge just talking to people and seeing everything that's going on. And so sometimes just putting your phone away altogether can be the best medicine. So find what works for you. Maybe it can be a hit and miss. Sometimes you need to put away. Sometimes, it's good to call a friend on FaceTime and check in. I definitely suggest both, but you got to recognize what works best for you. With all this time, I think it's important that we can take this time to try to enjoy being alone. Enjoy this isolation. It sounds silly, but we can use this to our advantage. We can learn more about ourselves, and we can learn more about surroundings, and how you are by yourself when you're alone in your house. You learn so much because you're forced to learn those things. Being alone and enjoying your time alone, it can make you feel recharged. Maybe this is the reboot that you need. This is maybe the reboots that we all need right now. And sometimes you got to hit rock bottom to be able to pick yourself back up and be recharged. But if you are enjoying your time alone and you're using it to learn things and learn about yourself and learn how to deal with this overwhelm, we're all kind of learning how to deal with it as it goes. And so if you can take the time to enjoy educating yourself about that and processing these things, we're going to end up just in a way better place when all of this is over. So get in touch with your emotions and enjoy being alone. Reflect on the things and how you actually feel about them. This is another thing. Journal, write things down. When we're alone, we don't have to answer to anyone. We don't have to adjust anything for anyone. We can just do exactly what we want. And this kind of allows us to really, maybe find a new passion or really understand ourselves for a new different thing, or, try to learn something new, and maybe you're going to fall in love with it because you don't have to look for validation. You can just start believing in yourself and starting something new because you want to start something new. Like, you can accept yourself, and you can take this time alone to accept yourself and to learn something new about yourself and to grow, because this is going to make us grow. This is all. Every single person is going to be changing in some type of way after going through a pandemic. We're all going to be changed. And I think that we can try to, make this change positive, and it's going to be hard, and there's going to be a lot of hard times, but let's do what we can to make the positive outcome that we want for ourselves. And we got to put the effort, and we got to fight for that, and we got to not let everything knock us down. We have to find that time to enjoy being alone and enjoy learning new things and enjoy, what we can right now, and appreciate those things as much as we can. So focus on you. Focus on what you want. You don't have to listen to anyone. You don't have to answer to anyone. You don't have to pick up your phone. You don't even have to put pants on today if you really don't want to. Listen to what you really feel inside, and I think you're going to really find some cool things about yourselves that you didn't even realize. It's time for another break, though. Don't go anywhere. I'm going to talk more about handling isolation and loneliness and processing your emotions. So stay tuned. Take advantage of all the creative minds all over the world. Design Crowd allows you to invite over 750,000 professional designers to come up with the perfect creative design for you. You just have to post a brief description describing the design that you need. All of these designers start to submit ideas, and then within hours, you get to pick one of your favorite ones, and you confirm the payment, and it's all yours. As easy as that. This allows small companies and businesses, entrepreneurs to take advantage of the creative minds all over the world and do it at such a low cost. You are guaranteed to get a design that you like. So go to designcrowd.com/lifeandhappiness or enter the promo code lifeandhappiness. You're going to receive a discount to create the logo of your dreams for your company. Welcome back to GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast. We're talking about handling isolation and loneliness. And something that we all need to recognize is that loneliness is a feeling. It's not a fact. You can talk yourself into it. You can talk yourself out of it. Sometimes we are triggered for our loneliness. You know, it might be the forceful time alone that kind of puts you in your head and makes you feel alone. Like we're all kind of being forced to isolate and socially distance ourselves from others. Because physically we are distant and physically we are alone, and, you know, that can make us feel alone and distant from everybody, right? And that's just how it is. But the thing is, this could be a crucial time for your growth if you're someone, you know, that really leans on others to keep you going and to keep your motivation going and your effort in life. Right now is all you have is yourself. You have to learn to fall in love with your time alone. You know, you can still reach out to people right now. You can still reach out to family and friends. You can video chat. You can call and text. You know, you can connect over social media. You don't have to completely stop talking to everybody. You know, this is a good time to reflect on your true friends and who's really there for you right now, and who do you want to check in on, and who's checking in on you, who's taking that extra mile to call you and make sure that you're okay today, and that, you know, you're handling the isolation all right. Take this time to learn about your life and learn about you. And, you know, loneliness is just a feeling. It's not a fact. And the fact could be is that you are alone right now, but that doesn't mean you have to feel alone. It doesn't mean that you have to feel the loneliness. It just means that you have to process your emotions and your thoughts, and you have to address them properly and deal with them properly. So, you know, create a list of things that you're grateful for, of things that you've always wanted to do, but you've never had the time. And if you can do those things in your own household, do them. You know, don't be sad on your couch watching Friends for the 100th time. You know, build the puzzle, or, you know, do a new exercise, read a new book, you know, cook something new in your house. Give yourself, you know, that extra shove. And if you are someone that constantly leans on others, you know, to give you that motivation, well, this is going to be harder for you to pick yourself back up. But we're all in this together. And that's an important thing to remember too, is we're all in this together. We're all dealing with some kind of isolation or loneliness or anxiety right now. And you know, when you feel so alone, the thing is right now is you're not alone, because there are people all over the world going through the same thing that you're going through right now, that we're all going through. And, you know, you're listening to this episode because, you know, we're all dealing with it right now. And it's scary and it's real. And it's time to make sure that we need to take care of our mental health while there's chaos outside. It's crucial to take care of your mental health every single day and your physical health, but we can't let ourselves fall off track or fall into a rut because of this. We have to stay strong and focused. So, you know, write your goals down, make your inspiration board, you know, write a list of the things you're grateful for, and use this time to implement healthy habits into your life, and don't let loneliness take over. You know, try to be productive, try to do some spring cleaning and learn something new, and make the most of what you can right now, because that's all we have. We have the ability to look at the positive. And we have the ability to take care of ourselves and take care of our mind and our body so that we can take care of others as well. And that's so crucial. And it's so important to focus on that right now. So address your thoughts. If you can't stop thinking about something, you need to address it. You need to write it down. If you can't sleep because your mind is going, you need to reflect. What is keeping you up right now? Is it what's going on in the world, or is it something else? Are you dealing with the loneliness? Are you boggling things down? You got to be able to find that inner peace within ourselves so we can deal with being alone. And the thing is we're not alone, but damn, we might feel it, and we could feel it right to the bone, and it sucks to feel alone, but you're not. So address your thoughts and reflect on them and be able to pull that inner peace out. There's so many emotions that we need to process right now, and we got to process them properly so that we can function in this chaos right now. And so I'm going to give you 4 steps to processing your emotions, because we all have heavy emotions right now. We're all dealing with a lot. So the first one is mindfulness. We have to be mindful of ourselves and our surroundings and what's going on. We have to be grateful and aware of everything. And we can't process our emotions when we're in a panic. So the more that we're aware about how we're feeling, we can practice that mindfulness, and we can really learn about our feelings and what exactly is going on and what exactly makes us feel a certain way. Number 2 is naming. This is recognizing your emotion and naming them. Are you angry? Are you sad? Are you resentful, happy, annoyed? How are you truly feeling? And can you name that emotion? Can you find a difference between your emotions? Sometimes we kind of just mash things all up together. Can you recognize doubt and uncertainty and anxiety and insecurity when you're feeling those things? Can you recognize the actual feeling that's going through you right now? Take the time to name them, because when we can name them, that leads me into the 3rd step, which is acceptance. When we can recognize that, we can recognize our emotions, now we need to accept them. This can be a very hard step for a lot of people. But if you don't accept the way that you're feeling, you're never going to get over it. You will never be able to move past it. And sometimes you can think that you are accepting it, but in reality, you're really not. And that's, what you need to focus on and you need to be aware of is your emotions and dealing with them so that you don't feel alone. You don't feel that overstress, You have to say, I feel this way and I accept my feelings. And do I need to change them? If so, how can I change them right now? What can I do? And you need to train your mind to be able to handle that better. And I think you're going to put yourself in a proper, better mental state because of it. And now number 4 is action if it's necessary. Do you need to take action for these emotions going on? Can you take action for the emotions going on? Maybe you just need to do something physical to get you out of that emotion. Sometimes we let our anger or our sadness out by moving. Do you need to talk to somebody? Do you need to confront somebody or have a conversation maybe just to get you relaxed? Call the friend that always puts a smile on your face. Call the friend that makes you laugh and makes you feel at ease. Maybe that's the action that you need to take to get you out of that heavy emotion. So, be mindful, recognize your emotion, name them, so then you can accept them, and then you can take action if it's necessary. A lot of the time we resist our emotions and our thought process instead of recognizing and accepting it. But if we recognize and accept it, we can grow and we can move past those things. If you're isolated and all these emotions are coming up because of this isolation, then you need to do some serious reflection. You need to recognize what you need right now. Sometimes we let ourselves feel something. Our emotions are being experienced, but our crazy brains try to think our way out of it when really we can't just think our way out of our emotions. This usually results in bottling things up or making us overthink and therefore making the situation even worse. So eventually bottling all this stuff up, for so long, we break down and we explode, and it's usually a lot of emotional release that we might have needed to do a long time ago. And maybe there's so many things that you bottled up, and now all of a sudden you're alone in your house and you release. You release that emotion and you break down because you're scared, and because finally, for the first time in a while, your life has slowed down and you're alone to deal with your own thoughts. Now, this emotional release could be happening right now because you're isolated. We put a wall up and we protect ourselves from life and from people, and then now suddenly we're all alone and we have nowhere to go and we have no one, to put on a strong face for because no one's around us, and then we snap or we melt down and we release all this emotion. Then we're left alone having to deal with the aftermath of it, and it's scary. So we have to, recognize this release and recognize this breakdown as a time to move that energy and to move it into the right places. We have to repair our mind and our body because it puts a lot of stress on us to have everything bottled up, not to mention everything else that's going on in our world right now. We don't need the added stress from all of this bottled energy coming up. So, do reflection and pinpoint the things, that you maybe haven't dealt with. Reflect on those and continue to do reflection every single day, maybe twice a day right now if you're feeling so overwhelmed. Write things down, because I don't know how many times I can say that is write things down, but it's the easiest way to really process things going on in our head and going on in our mind. And it's important to recognize them and exercise your mind with things like, if you're once we have this huge emotional release, we need to start exercising our mind with positive things again. Make your goal list and organize where you want to go right now. How do you want to handle the next situation? How do you want to handle the next 2 weeks? Make your game plan and stick to it. Have that motivation and move your body and release that emotional energy that puts a strain on your body by getting up and moving. Whether it's walking in circles in your living room, doing some push-ups, or if you are able to get outside, I highly suggest that, but get into your body so you can move that energy somewhere. The most important thing is to know that you are not alone. You can call someone. There are resources. There are friends and family. And we're all kind of going through a similar thing right now. We're all dealing with a pandemic, and some of us might be hitting the loneliness more than others, but that doesn't mean you're alone. So take care of yourself first. Take care of your mind and your soul. This is really going to force you to be comfortable in your own skin, that you can't lean on anybody else, and it forces you to deal with things that you've been avoiding, and it's not fun, but I think after this, we can use it to be stronger in our lives later on, and we can use it to grow and to really make sure that we're in a good place. And, this could really help us deal with any kind of trauma or heavy emotion that comes on later in life, because it's inevitable. If something's going to happen, we're always going to have to deal with our emotions, and there's always going to be times where we feel alone, even in a crowded room. So take this time to learn about yourself and learn how you can process these things, and just remember that you're not alone, and do your de-stressing techniques, and do the things that you can for yourself to take care of yourself, because it's so crucial to make sure that you're putting the love for yourself and the care for yourself before anything else. We have to be healthy mentally and physically so that we can continue to help each other, and we can all work together to get through this craziness and this chaos and get through the loneliness and isolation. Find the time to enjoy being alone and find that ease. Find your escape. Find your pandemic escape, okay? Easier said than done, I know, but that is all the information that I have for you today. I hope that you enjoyed this. I hope that it kind of maybe gave you some ideas. I hope it maybe made you just feel relaxed, or just, if anything, I hope it gave you 30 minutes of not thinking about, too much other than trying to focus on you. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode of GSMC Life and Happiness Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I'm your host, Alyssa Jo. Stay healthy, stay well, stay positive. You're not alone. Focus on you. We all got this. We're all in it together. I look forward to next time. I'm going to be sharing some more information, hopefully to help us all get through this chaotic time right now. Thank you so much.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Life and Happiness Podcast, part of the GSMC Podcast Network. You can find the show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcasts on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type in GSMC to find all of our shows. From the GSMC Podcast Network, from sex and relationships to health and wellness, life and happiness, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's episode of the Golden State Media Concepts Life and Happiness Podcast.